Fam, just when the Baltimore Ravens were becoming the hottest comeback story in the NFL on a 3-game winning streak, crawling back from that abysmal 1-5 start that had all of us rethinking everything, Wednesday's injury report comes out like a wrecking ball, and not the kind we needed. Lamar Jackson sits with a knee issue. Rashod Bateman is confirmed out with a high ankle sprain. Marlon Humphrey needs finger surgery and is going to miss at least 1 to 2 weeks. And special team dog Jay Higgins out with a knee issue. But despite all of that, Baltimore is still fighting for the AFC North. And they've got a chance this Sunday to shake up the entire division in Cleveland. Welcome back to One Flock. I'm your host, Rob Love. Let's talk about it. It's time to fly. Let's go.
Let's go Ravens, let's go Ravens, let's go Ravens, let's go Ravens. We are one flock, we are one flock, we are one flock, we are one flock.
Man, it feels good to have a reason to bounce again. Let's go Ravens. Man, back on the winning side again. I'm Rob Love. Good to have you back, Flock family. For those of you who have just joined us, we are now over 1,200 subscribers and rushing towards our 2,000 subscriber mark. That is our next goal. So if you haven't already subscribed, please take an opportunity right now. Like, subscribe, stick around, because this is going to be a season we all want to remember. And why not be a founding member of the Flock? We're new and it's good to have you here with us. But what are we talking about today? Let's start with the big picture, because the big picture, we know on October the 1st, the Ravens were 1-5 and the sky was falling in Baltimore. We were written off by the national media. The defense was giving up more points than any team in the NFL, and we were in a bleak situation. But what has happened since then? This is where things start getting exciting, and we got to start looking at, is history being made here? Because 4 straight opponents have been held under 20 points by this very defense that we were totally fed up with and had us looking at the head coach, Zach Orr, everybody. And these aren't just any offenses that have been held under 20 points per game. We're talking about a Rams defense that features Puka Nacua, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, 2 of the best running backs in the league. This offense has been racking up points with no difficulty. The Ravens held them beneath 20 points. We're talking about an offense, the Minnesota Vikings, that features some of the best skilled players in the country. We just saw Justin Jefferson held to, 37 or 57 yards? It was something that mediocre. We just watched this team destroy a Miami team that we also watched just this past weekend destroy the Buffalo Bills. Miami put up all kinds of points against the Buffalo Bills. So the argument, yes, some are going to want to make this says, hey, this defense, they did it because the opponents weren't great. Every single one of these teams that we've held under 20 points has had no problem scoring points before we played them and since we've played them, which means we've got to face the reality that our defense is playing significantly better. What else has happened since then? New acquisitions. What acquisitions? We're going to break that down here in a minute, but the acquisitions that we've made on this team and a departure have changed how this defense is playing as a whole. We've had 10 takeaways. 10 takeaways this defense has had in this stretch, where all of a sudden the Ravens have some swag defensively. We didn't have any takeaways. We weren't getting pressure. We weren't getting interceptions. And now all of a sudden, every game, the defense is turning the ball over. And Lamar Jackson, of course, returned to the Baltimore Ravens. And since his return, this offense is looking like what we expect the Baltimore Ravens offense to look like. And of course, we're undefeated. And we'll talk some more about just what has happened with Lamar Jackson's return. But the rebirth, this feeling, the spirit that we have, especially when not too long ago, it was really looking like our season was over. People were talking about blowing the team up, starting over again. Harbaugh's got to go. Zach Orr's got to go. And that's a conversation some still are ready to have. And we can talk about that in another episode. But right now, we're going to talk about the good things that have this team looking like, as someone in the media said, the scariest team in the NFL. Not sure if I would say that just yet, but that's what's happening. That shows you how drastic the turnaround has been. And undeniably, part of that has been the new acquisitions that we hinted at. Alohi Gilman, man, this guy's smart. He's hard-hitting if you've been watching him play, and he's a safety that Baltimore absolutely needed. We acquired him in a trade that didn't make sense to me at the time, didn't make sense to a lot of people when we saw that we gave up Odafe Owe, who admittedly, while he wasn't getting to the quarterback this year, we didn't really see a situation where we needed to give up a pass rusher who happened to be our second best pass rusher on the team in exchange for a corner or a safety. Because again, we were lacking on the defensive line. Edge rushing was something that we needed help with, not further deplete our team of. At least that's what we all thought. But man, look how this Rubik's Cube works. We acquired him in trade. Alohi Gilman sent Odafe Owe going to the Chargers. And this former Notre Dame standout who played along with Kyle Hamilton briefly in college, that chemistry that he has with Kyle Hamilton has totally transformed this defense. Remember, Kyle Hamilton was forced to stay in more of a traditional safety position because of what we were lacking in that defense. With the addition of Alohi Gilman and the communication and chemistry that those two have had, it's allowed Kyle Hamilton to now work in that free-floating, he's everywhere, where's he going to be on the next play position that made him so deadly previously before he got locked down in that true corner position. Now his ability to be able to be moved all over the place has turned this defense into something that offenses are struggling with. What was it J.J. McCarthy said this weekend? He said, they threw the kitchen sink at me. That kitchen sink, a lot of times, was Kyle Hamilton all in the middle of it. All in the middle of it. Roquan looks better. Everybody looks better. And it started happening when we were able to move Kyle around again. And Alohi Gilman being here, he debuted with 7 tackles. 7 tackles in his debut. That immediate impact was something I wasn't expecting to be as big as he was, but we certainly can't deny it at this time. I mean, he has a red zone fumble that he forced that is being featured in almost every hype video you see about the Ravens in this turnaround that we've seen since. So Gilman has brought stability, communication, experience. It's all of these things are becoming a foundation to this defensive turnaround. So what was criticized by EDC in this trade immediately after it took place now suddenly is starting to look like maybe it was a smart thing to do. Maybe it was borderline genius. But it doesn't stop there. We also got the addition of Draymond Jones. And remember, everyone was underwhelmed with the offseason, or not the offseason, but with the trade deadline moves that the Ravens made. Everywhere you turn, people were saying, oh, they didn't do what they needed to do. Right now, you're hearing people say that maybe we did a lot better than what we thought. Certainly not as good as we should have, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But Draymond Jones, this Swiss Army knife that we've received as a pass rusher, remember, he came in originally, he wasn't a highly touted guy when he first came to the league. He was a 3rd-round pick from Ohio State, I think. But he's got 35 career sacks, He already had 4.5 sacks this year before we brought him over through trade, which means at that time he had more sacks than anybody on our roster at the time. The film shows that he's had 7 pressures and 1.5 sacks in the game that he played right before coming to the Ravens. So this guy was generating something that we needed. So it wasn't a bad addition. I think people just got underwhelmed by, we were hoping we got somebody, a Max Crosby. We were hoping we got somebody, who was a huge impact player. Well, he certainly made an impact since he's been on this team. We've been using him in that Swiss Army knife way. He's been we've been lining up inside. We've been lining him up outside, and he is generating pressure and changing the way quarterbacks are playing. He's exactly what this defense needed. He's someone who can collapse the pocket. He can finish plays and actually get to the quarterback, something that Odafe Owe frequently was criticized for, not being able to finish. And what I've also noticed is that he's freeing up Starks. And we're starting to see Starks emerge and getting more impactful in his position. So this is a huge, huge impact that we're feeling already from just these two players, Alohi Gilman and Draymond Jones, who none of us, myself included, were just super excited about when they showed up. But the impact has been immediate and undeniable, and I'm super excited about it. Now, we look at Malachi Starks. I know I mentioned how he's been more freed up with the arrival of these two pieces, and it seems like he's getting more comfortable in the system. Back-to-back interceptions in the last 2 games. His ball hawk instincts, which is why we were so excited when he got drafted, are really starting to pay dividends. We're starting to see it translate to the NFL, and you can't help but think there's 2 things that are lending to this. One, he's getting more used to the system. He's getting more calmed down. He's getting less in his head and more in his instincts. But also he's being freed up to move better because with the addition of these new pieces, with Kyle Hamilton being able to support and move around, that the game is slowing down and he's not having to think about so much because the defense as a whole is functioning better. And when that's happening, every individual piece gets to become more effective in playing their particular position. It looks like that Malachi Starks is putting it all together. This kid is playing like he could be the future of the secondary, and the spark that he brings, you can feel it. You can feel it. I mean, what did you feel like when you saw yet another interception? Here we go, right? This is what we expected to see from this defense. And the fact that we're seeing it now is exciting, especially when you're riding the momentum of a 3-game win streak, which the Ravens are doing. And the defense played a big role in that 3rd win because the offense didn't do a whole lot against Minnesota. I mean, we scored 27 points, yes. However, that was a hard-earned 27 points. And if it hadn't been for the defense's play in that game, would 27 points have been enough? This is exciting stuff that we're seeing. But that excitement, as we talked about, is taking a hit. And now we got to come to that injury report on Wednesday. The Storm, Lamar Jackson, knee injury. This is a big deal. Now, I know Harbaugh said that it's minor. That's kind of his MO. He's always going to say it's minor, that they just held him out for rest. The knee and Lamar are going to be fine. Well, let me tell you something. Put these things together. Say them together. Knee, Lamar Jackson, Cleveland. That's a big deal. And why is that a big deal? Because we know for a fact that the only reason Lamar Jackson has any chance against this championship tier defense that Cleveland touts, don't look at their record and think that their defense isn't one of the best at getting to the quarterback in the country. Because if you think that, you didn't see them play anybody they played this year. You know who leads the country right now in sacks? There's this guy, this future Hall of Famer called Myles Gaskin, the number 1 paid guy in his position in the NFL, who feasts on quarterbacks. And this guy, He's coming for Lamar. He's coming for Lamar, and he's not the only guy on that defense that knows how to get pressure. Now, why is that such a big deal? Well, it's because if Lamar's not healthy, he can't move like he needs to move. And why does he need to move? We know why. The chorus, the one area, and this is why I say in the free agency, in the trade deadline, all that fun stuff, the Ravens did not take care of something that they needed to address, and we all knew it. We've all known it. The offensive line, particularly the guard play. Voorhees, Falele, we're not going to spend more time repeating what we've been able to repeat about these guys for over a year now. But they are almost invisible. Invisible. We've seen games this year where Lamar Jackson, the most elusive quarterback that we've ever seen in the game, sacked 7 times in one game with all his elusiveness. Lamar Jackson has to be able to escape the pocket that's always imploding around him with this offensive line. When you're playing up against one of the best defenses in the country, even when they're playing against stout offensive lines, well, you become very concerned about how many hits is Lamar Jackson going to take if he's unable to do his normal cinematic escapes from the pocket from guys who are chasing him down. Because you can't all of a sudden think that this line is going to protect him. So am I concerned? Is this a big deal? It's absolutely a big deal. If Lamar is not healthy, meaning he can't move like he normally does, that's going to impact this game in a very, very big way. No, throw out the door the design quarterback runs. That's not going to happen. It means you're going to have to go to a more timing-based, quick release pass game, which we know can happen, and we'll talk about that more in a second too. But let's not act like that's the only thing on this report that was alarming. Rashod Bateman, we talked about, he's out with a high ankle sprain. Funny thing with high ankle sprains, depending on the severity, that thing can be as little as 3 to 4 weeks. That's normally the minimum with a high ankle sprain, but it could be the rest of the season. It just depends on how that high ankle sprain heals in that particular athlete. And so missing Rashod Bateman, what does that do? We talk about how different pieces affect each other. We know Zay Flowers has really been breaking out lately. A lot of that is because of the separation that Rashod Bateman's been able to get, the tension he's been able to demand. What happens when you don't have a Rashod Bateman? Well, there's been speculation. Of course, we got DeAndre Hopkins. We've got other wide receivers that I think are going to make an impact. So there is an effect. Losing Rashod Bateman, don't say that's nothing, because it's something. We've seen how Rashod Bateman has exemplified his skills at creating separation and giving Lamar Jackson a target. That timing that he's worked out with Lamar, all of that counts, especially when Lamar's having to do quick passes and quick outs, which we are thinking he's probably going to have to do more of now that he's got this injury that's going to take him out of the running game as much. Make the quick pass that much more important. How quickly can your receivers get separation? Bateman's one of the best. So bad timing for that, but I don't think it's our major thing to be concerned with. It's still Lamar Jackson. And with Marlon Humphrey, the finger fracture and the surgery, only 1 or 2 weeks out on that. If you think about it, really, this is the best time we could have asked for this to happen if this were going to happen. And why do I say that? Well, it's because Marlon Humphrey, if we were playing the Cincinnati Bengals next week with T. Higgins and Chase out there, then that's a terrible time to lose Marlon Humphrey. But you're playing the Cleveland Browns with Gabriel as quarterback. That passing attack isn't anything that you like, man, if we're missing Humphrey, we're in trouble, right? And then after that, who we got? The Jets. That's no offense that you're like, their passing attack. If Humphrey's out for that game, then we're in trouble. So 1 to 2 weeks, if you're going to miss 1 to 2 weeks, missing one of your key secondary members against the Browns offense and the Jets offense is a good time to have that happen. So we hope that Marlon heals up well. It seems from everything we're hearing, he expects, based on what his doctors are telling him, that this is pretty regular, 1 or 2 weeks, and he should be fine. So missing that game with the play that we've been getting from Gilman and Starks and with Kyle Hamilton moving around, I think the secondary will be just fine. Now, as far as Jay Higgins, this is one that I think a lot of the fans are sleeping on. Jay Higgins out multiple games, could be out. We don't know how long. They haven't told us any particulars. We know the knee. Harbaugh did say it was pretty serious and he was concerned about it. To show you how big of a deal this is, Jay Higgins has played in 61% of our special team snaps. He's out there most of the time on special teams. He's a major contributor in special teams. When you lose one of those guys, when you lose someone who is disciplined in those running lanes on special teams, which is super important, coaches are very concerned about that, and we should be too, because coaches lose sleep over that sort of thing. It's special teams is a huge part. And right now, our special teams have been playing really special. You lose a guy like Higgins, who do you bring up? This is going to be important. And thankfully, I believe we do have some guys that we can call up from the practice squad that will do well in this. You know, Harbaugh, with his history in special teams, a lot of times when he's picking who he wants to be in the reserve roles, he's thinking special teams. He's wired that way. So, but we'll pay attention. But just understand, Jay Higgins being lost from special teams, that's not the little thing that you thought it was. That's a big deal, and we've got to address that. Now, the AFC North landscape right now makes how we handle all these injuries and what happens this Sunday super important for us. It is a massive, massive game for us this weekend. And the reason why, if you zoom out and you look at the AFC North right now, the Browns game means everything for these Baltimore Ravens, our Baltimore Ravens. Pittsburgh started off in the AFC North with a 3-game lead. You know where that 3-game lead is now? It is gone. The Steelers are falling apart. They're slipping, and that's why now they're within reach. All of a sudden, you find the Ravens, who were 1-5, and the Steelers were just marching along. We're only 1 game behind the Steelers. We're 4-5. They're 5-4. 1 game difference. At the same time that that's happening, the Buffalo Bills, they're falling apart. They just got blown out by the same Miami Dolphins that Baltimore just beat. So this wild card chaos is brewing. In fact, if you look at all the projections now, the odds have actually gone up on the Ravens winning the AFC North. And you look at most of the projections and the talk shows, and everybody shows lurking in that wild card race. There's the Ravens. There's the 4-5 Ravens. And what happens if we win and reach 500? Once you reach 500, let's first of all say this, psychologically, that puts you in a whole new place. You're not playing from behind anymore. It's like it's a fresh start on life. If these Ravens can get back to 5-5, get to 500, to where you don't have a losing record, well, now, every game, you're starting off fresh. You win 1 game and you're winning. You got a winning record. And now you just have a different vibe, a different mojo. It's just psychologically, huge game for the Ravens to win this weekend. But it's not just the psychological part. This would be one of the season's biggest turnarounds for the Ravens, who started at 1-5, all of a sudden be at 5-5 and be in a hunting mode where they're no longer just trying to survive. We're trying to duck and dodge from being pecked off by whoever the next sniper is that takes them out. Suddenly, sweeping the Cleveland Browns, a division opponent, something the Ravens haven't done, not since the modern era of that coaching group that's up there. The Ravens have lost most of the games that they've played at Cleveland. I believe Cleveland's 3-2 against these Ravens at home. So sweeping them in a season would be a statement. It would be a statement that these Ravens are no longer in just, we're trying to survive, we're trying to keep from being eliminated. But it would mean that the Ravens are actively hunting. If we're coming to your place, we're coming to take you down. That's the psychological game. That's the kind of game the championship teams win. It's when you're battered. It's when you're on the road. It's when you got the chips stacked against you. When you're in division, they know you, but yet you still find a way to get the victory. If these Ravens can do that, this game, this Sunday in Cleveland, huge, massive game for the season. But how can the Ravens still win this game? Because, we talked about offensive line is terrible, deplorable. We have to expect it to still be that. It's not going to change. We haven't seen a change in 2 years. That offensive line is going to stink. Lamar Jackson is not 100%. We still haven't seen him test the hamstring 100%. And now he's got a knee issue on top of that. However minor that is, it's an issue. And you're going up against the number one sack leader in the NFL and a championship level defense. How can the Ravens win this game? Well, let's break that down. It's first of all, we're going to have to lean on that improved defense. We can't let the Cleveland Browns defense be the only championship level defense on the field. Our defense is going to have to continue this recent streak of being a opportunistic defense, turning over Gabriel, with Gilman back there stabilizing, Kyle Hamilton being able to move around, even without having Marlon Humphrey. You still got Nate Wiggins back there, right? Jones applying the pressure off the defensive line that he's brought, collapsing that pocket. Green has shown improvement. Malachi Starks continuing to do what he's been doing. Think about the takeaways that we've been generating. Roquan Smith being disruptive. It's really going to require for our defense to continue doing all of that because they're going to need to be the superstar of this game because they're going to be playing in a battle. And when you're playing a battle game, a grimy game against a division opponent that knows you and you know it's going to be that type of game, you know it's going to be hard hits in the trenches. Well, the only trench that these Ravens can rely on is our defensive trenches. So those boys are going to have to be superstars in this game. The quick game offense on offense is going to be key. Again, we know the offensive line is going to be sucky. So, Lamar Jackson, and this is what I like seeing. Did you notice in the Minnesota Vikings game how quickly he was getting rid of the ball? One of the things that really upset me, and I think I kind of understand why, one of the things that upset me was that second series that the Ravens were in where Lamar really quick, just targeted pass straight to Andrews, and Andrews hits both hands. He doesn't catch it. Very next play, ball snaps. Lamar, quick, pass straight to Likely. Hit both hands. He didn't catch it. There was zip on the ball, and it was fast. Those guys got to be ready to catch those because that's the game Lamar's going to have to play. Perfect pass. Should have been caught. It wasn't. That's going to be something that's necessary in this game. And hopefully every single one of our receivers, our tight ends, have been working with that machine that fires off balls real fast and where they got to catch them because the fast offense, the quick game offense is what Lamar's going to have to do because he will not have time in that pocket. That pocket's gone the moment the ball snaps against these Cleveland Browns and that Myles Gaskin. The play action that we got to see a little bit of against Minnesota, same recipe. I don't know if you noticed how much Flores was bringing pressure and blitzing Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson's numbers against the blitz are the best in the country. He's so analytical in the way he breaks down defenses and sees what they're doing, but the elements that are working with him are going to have to be ready. And the coaching all this week should be getting everybody in tune for more of that fast game, quick game offense. Get the ball out fast, limit that pressure that the Browns front is able to put on. And then the more you throw past that pressure, it should relax, and that'll open up the run game, which we're also going to need to be good. We're going to need to also use Zay Flowers creatively. I love a lot of the ways they've been using Zay Flowers, but there's more that can be done there. Zay Flowers is such a weapon because not only does he have the speed, he's got a tremendous speed, but he's so shifty, his double moves. Him in space is a nightmare for any defender. So if we can continue to capitalize using him, whether that's in jet motion, if you're using him in stacks, get him in bunches, get him 9 to 12 targets and mix up where you're hitting him. Don't be so predictable because that's what's going to keep this defense off balance. And when you're playing against a championship level defense with the type of skill and talent that defense has, keeping them off balance by confusing them as much as you can is super important. And we can do that when you've got players on your roster like Zay Flowers. But there's not just Zay Flowers. There's a guy by the name of Keaton Mitchell who hasn't gotten nearly enough touches, if you ask me. Right now, he is averaging over 6 yards a carry. When he touches the ball, special things happen. A lot of juice, a lot of explosiveness. He can catch out of the backfield. He can run it out of the backfield. He can go between the tackles. He can go around. He is such a great change of pace back working with Derrick Henry, and we are going to have to run that rock effectively. If we can do that by utilizing Justice Hill, Derrick Henry, more Keaton Mitchell, and creatively, just like what I was saying with Zay Flowers, that's going to keep Cleveland honest. That's going to keep them honest because Lamar's going to do his part with the quick passes and the play action and disguising what he's doing. But if you also, out of your formations, can take weapons like Zay Flowers and Keaton Mitchell and use them in ways where the defense really doesn't know what they're going to be doing, man, that really is going to help break up that pressure that they're going to want to bring on to Lamar Jackson. Now, the special teams is going to be big in this game too. The kicking game and the precision of where we've been placing the football has been really good. Tyler Loop has been really good. We're going to need that whole special teams group to continue to play well. And whoever is brought up to replace Higgins, going to need that lane discipline to be there. The penalties have gone down with this team. We're going to have to keep that going. Keep the penalties down. Discipline is huge. It's a big part of that. Avoid flipping the field. Don't give the Cleveland Browns brownies. Don't give them dessert wrapped in free yards. You know what I mean? We don't want to give them treats. We don't need to treat them to free yards. So the cheap yards, we avoid that by having great disciplined play from all groups on the field. So this is how we can win. I think we should win. The spread right now is 8 points. We'll talk about what I think it'll actually be. But this game is meaningful. It means so much. Make no mistake about it. This Sunday is a statement game. And when you say that and you're going against somebody as the lowly Cleveland Browns, right? It's like, how could it be a statement game against the Cleveland Browns? Well, think about it. If Baltimore wins, and I'm not even going to say that, when Baltimore wins, they move to 5-5. We already talked about what that means, the psychology of being 500, no longer a losing season. A team that started 1-5. Think about that psychologically, what it does. But also think about what happens if they lose that game. So all the momentum, the comeback story, they lose. And instead of going to 5-5, they drop to 4-6. Psychologically, it takes a toll, right? You're still stuck in that, we're losing, we're buried. It takes that pressure and just keeps extending it out. The AFC North is officially right now a 2-team race. The Ravens have an opportunity this weekend to push it towards being a 1-team race, especially with the way things are looking for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's schedule is getting tougher at a time where the Ravens' schedule is getting easier. The Ravens would become instantly, with a win, the hottest turnaround story in football. Lamar's MVP narrative, I know some of you don't care about that, but I do, especially the way he got robbed last year. Lamar's MVP chatter all of a sudden is going to creep back into the national conversation. The defense will be solidified as a legit talking point going forward, which should make all of us feel better, because if this defense is able to continue to perform and all of a sudden you've pieced together 5 games in a row where the defense is looking like what they're looking like, well, that's a defense that you can feel good about if you start thinking about playoffs, which that's the other big thing. Suddenly, because of the way the AFC North looks and is shaking out, we literally will be feeling pretty confident in talking about the next step, the playoffs. But if we lose this game, we'd fall behind the Browns in tiebreakers. The AFC North window tightens up. The momentum and the psychology we talked about is gone. And then all of a sudden, the injuries that we have, they become a much bigger storyline because we're losing with guys out. Means when they come back in, are they rushed in? Can we let them come back when they actually feel good because the team as itself is being able to function? Or do we feel tempted to rush guys back? Ravens fam, this is a season that I have a feeling we're going to remember for a long time. And unlike a few weeks ago, I feel like we're going to remember this season for the right reasons. This is going to be one of those storied seasons that they talk about and one day becomes a ESPN movie. You know what I mean? Think about it. We've been through the storm this year. Think about all the injuries we started off with at the beginning of the year. Think about the scare with losing Lamar Jackson. We've gone from 1-5, a team that nobody thought would do anything, to a team that nobody wants to see right now. Nobody wants to have to play these Baltimore Ravens. But championships aren't judged by how easy everything is. Champions are not crowned because when everything's easy, they won. Champions are judged when everything goes wrong. Champions show up swinging when the odds are totally against them. Lamar's knee, Humphrey surgery, Higgins' knee. Nah, it's not ideal, Ravens family. The offensive line, yeah, it's horrible, Ravens. But this team, they got heart, they got fight, they got belief, and so do we. And that's why this Sunday in Cleveland, we get to find out exactly who these Baltimore Ravens are and how deep not only the belief runs, but how deep this season can run. And I believe, Ravens flock, it can run as far as we ever believed it could. But it's one game at a time. And this week, that game is in Cleveland. Flock, let me know in the comments right now, do the Ravens pull off this upset and stay in the AFC North race? Do they? If so, what do you think the final score is? I'll tell you right now what I think it is. I think we pull off this fight. I think it starts off really, really rough. I think the slow starts that the Ravens have been having are symptomatic. We do need to get that figured out. But I think this game, very intense to begin with. But in the second half, I think the combination of our defense rising to the occasion and our offense outshining them because we have the superior offense. Finally, their defense starts to tire a little bit, and Lamar just ekes away at them. Derrick Henry gets stronger and faster as the game goes on. We use our weapons smartly, and the Ravens pull away, win this one by double digits. I say we beat them by 15. I say the final score is going to be 28-13 Ravens. 28-13. That's my prediction. If you guys feel anything different, if you think I'm talking out the side of my neck, if you think the fairy tale is happening like I do, you think this is a storyline that is going to end with joy and parties and us playing in a Super Bowl. Potentially, maybe, AFC Championship. What? If you still believe that can happen, let me know why you believe it, because I do. I never stop believing as long as we got 8 under center you can't stop believing. You can't stop believing. If you know somebody out there that needs a little bit more love in their life, find them for me, please. Remember, there's one thing this world will never be too full of. That thing is love. So let's share that with one another as much as we can. That's all the time for today's show. Let's get this win this week, Ravens. Looking forward to seeing you. For those of you who are here for the first time, we enjoyed having you. Hope you come back. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. I'm your host, Rob Love, and you know my last words. Thanks for flying with the brother. We'll see you next time. Let's go, Ravens. Get this win.
We take the field as one flock. No Ravens, here we go as one block. We keep grinding till we soar to the top. Come on, Ravens, here we go as one block. We keep grinding till we soar to the top. Let's go, Ravens.